Smoke and mirrors. Smoke, mirrors, and con jobs. That's what Donald Trump is all about. I make those references because in the past week, Donald Trump has taken credit for things that he had absolutely no say-so in. I point out that he wanted to take credit for the fact that a Ford plant in Kentucky was not going to lose any jobs, although they were shifting production of one of their lines down to Mexico. Well, as the full information came out, Ford had no intention of moving any jobs out of that Kentucky plant. What they were going to do was to shift a production line into a Mexican facility and replace that shifted line with another line to make cars. So no jobs were going to be lost. And as a matter of fact, there was a union contract down in Kentucky that prohibited any jobs from being lost. But Donald Trump jumps out there and claims that he saved all of these jobs in this Kentucky plant. That was a lie. And Ford came out with a statement that exposed his lie. But of course, most people glossed over that. Well, here's Donald Trump again with another lie. Donald Trump got out there and claimed that he saved 1,000 jobs in a carrier plant in the state of Indiana. That was another lie. Donald Trump didn't save a single job in that Indiana carrier plant. The person who actually saved those jobs was his vice president, and not in the role of vice president, but in the role of Governor Mike Pence. There were originally 2,400 jobs that were going to be lost, and Mike Pence, through a stroke of a pen, because there is no oversight by the Indiana legislature, has granted Carrier $700,000 a year in tax incentives in order to keep 1,000 jobs in the state of Indiana. Donald Trump had absolutely zero to do with the savings of those jobs. But of course, Donald Trump's going to have a press conference today and take all the credit for it, which he's already done on his Twitter account. The focus that we need to have is, what is Donald Trump going to do when the next company announces that they're going to move to Mexico? Donald Trump is talking all that bullshit about putting tariffs on, making it charging companies that are leaving the U.S. and going to Mexico and China. But he has absolutely no power at this moment to make any of that happen. Now, there is a company that is located in Indiana next to Carrier, and they've announced that they're going to move their operation to Mexico. So what's going to happen with them? Is Mike Pence going to step in again and offer them, significant tax credits in order to stay? It's a good possibility. But wait a minute, we're forgetting about one thing. Yeah, 1,000 jobs are going to be saved for, well, wait a minute, we don't even know how long a time period that they have committed to keeping those 1,000 jobs in Indiana. It could be 2 years, 3 years, and then we're going to be right back to where we were. If another company in a different state threatens to move their production to Mexico, Mike Pence is going to have absolutely no power to do anything as far as a company in a different state is concerned. So all the bluster of Mr. Trump in this particular case has added up to absolutely zero. He has had a zero effect as far as these two companies that I mentioned are concerned. Now, if we're going to start giving all of these tax credits to all of these companies that are threatening to leave, and if I were a company with a significant workforce, especially in Indiana, I would threaten to leave too, to see what I could wring out of Mike Pence while he's still governor. But sooner or later, Donald Trump's bluff is going to be called. Governors from various states are not going to be willing to give up all of the tax credits that these companies are going to try to wring out of them. And Donald Trump has absolutely zero authority to impose tariffs on any company or country. That is a power that is vested in the Congress and in the Congress alone. So for all of that bluster about making it tough on companies that relocate to foreign countries, yeah, if Mr. Trump can get the Congress to go along with him, he can get something done. But in effect, what that would start would be a trade war. And the last thing that you want to have happen at this point in time is a trade war with Mexico, with Japan, with China. So all that tough talk is basically going to be relegated to where it belongs, in a closed room, because those tariffs are not going to come into fruition. Anyway, here is the segment on the Roland Martin News One Now show regarding that situation.
All right, folks, Donald Trump announces that Carrier is going to keep 1,000 other jobs they plan to move to Mexico in Indiana. Media Trumpers says, oh my goodness, how's he a job creator? But there's some problems with how this is being portrayed. First and foremost, Carrier, the jobs are in Indiana. Who's the governor of Indiana? Mike Pence, who happens to be the VP elect. Okay, I get this. So Carrier makes an announcement saying that they're crediting the incoming Trump-Pence administration for keeping the jobs. Okay, the incentives being offered to keep them are state incentives. That's Mike Pence is still getting a check from taxpayers in Indiana. That's called doing your damn job. So, excuse me if I'm not giving credit to Donald Trump for keeping jobs in Indiana when he has absolutely no statutory power to offer any incentives to keep Carrier in Indiana. Let's go to our panel. Carmen, Don also doing this with Chris Metzler. Okay, am I the only one here? I get PR, but I want to play right now Don't Believe the Hype by Public Enemy. Mike Pence is the one, and not only that, they've been negotiating this for several months. So it's not like, oh, all of a sudden, guy wins. Oh, yeah, they're the reason we're staying. I'm sorry, am I the only one missing this whole deal?
No, we already know that the Republicans don't care about our jobs. But I would say on the good thing about, I mean, no offense, the good thing about this, though, is it does prove that when Trump completely screws up our job market, that the states actually have a lot more power to protect jobs and keep jobs inside of the states. I mean, that's the only upside to all of this.
No, but here's the deal, though. Any governor should have done what Mike Pence is doing. Yeah. That's the job of the governor, to retain the jobs. But to all of a sudden give Trump the credit for Carrier, like, oh, well, because he criticized him on the campaign trail. No, without state incentives, Bye-bye jobs, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, look, as you indicated, this is first and foremost about public relations. And I don't, for you to say that Republicans don't care about our jobs, I think is just beyond the pale. Of course, we're concerned about everybody's jobs, but I do think that what has occurred here is they're doing a good job at spinning, as any administration would. And I think that's what you see going on here.
Now, what he said is 100% reasonable, and the whole conversation basically could have stopped there. But you have a hardcore black Republican in the center that just can't let that go, and he's got to try to spin it to the positive for Donald Trump. Check this guy out.
Yeah, but what amazes me though when I watch this, it's as if Mike Pence wasn't governor. Okay, let's say these were in Idaho. Mm-hmm. Will you take credit for those if the governor there offers some incentives to keep carrier? Right. I mean, that's the real deal. Sure. And so to act as if, well, this incoming administration saved the jobs, they didn't. State incentives, taxpayer dollars in Indiana, negotiated by the guy who is the governor of Indiana, who is also the head of the Economic Development Committee, that's actually providing the money.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, as they say, all politics is local. And that's pretty much what you see. You have local politics pushing itself now onto the national stage, using state funds to do so. But at the end of the day, it's still 1,000 jobs that have been retained. And that's, yeah, exactly.
And by the way, Donald Trump tweeted this: look forward to going to Indiana tomorrow in order to be with the great workers of Carrier. They will sell many air conditioners. They actually, John, John, but the jobs being kept, they make furnaces.
And even with this,
the thing is that it's an end result that they kept it, and they're actually leading by example.
No. The end result is I'm going to credit the people who are paying for the incentives. That's the taxpayers of Indiana.
But it's leadership.
No. It's leadership by the governor of Indiana.
Trump raised the issue, right?
No, actually. They announced
how many times do we? I mean, we have a ton of issues that the states don't resolve. So just because because it's been
John, when did Carrier announce they were going to move the jobs?
Months ago.
No, not in February.
Right.
When did the state of Indiana begin to negotiate with them to keep the jobs?
But the point is,
no, John, answer my question.
Just because you
answer my question. When did John, answer answer the question.
Like I said, the first time I was on the show, we could sing together. We can't talk at the same time.
I got you. No, hold on. But it's my show. You gonna answer the question. When did Indiana begin to negotiate to keep the jobs?
The point is, you have to apply political and financial pressure.
Okay.
Trump applied the political pressure as Pence and his team was negotiating with Carrier.
Okay,
there's multiple ways to reach an outcome.
Let me answer the question since you won't answer the question. They announced in February. They began to negotiate in February. Okay, this has been an ongoing negotiation. Trump wasn't negotiating this deal. The governor of Indiana was.
Political pressure.
No. This is very simple. I'm gonna give the person credit who has the power to negotiate the deal, which is the governor of Indiana, Mike Pence. It ain't Trump.
Look, again.
Okay, so you from New York? Are you from New York?
Are you from New York? Are you from New York? Of course.
So Governor Mario Cuomo. Okay, so Governor Mario Cuomo negotiates a deal, and then Trump tweets about it, and the job stay in New York. Does Trump get the credit?
But the point is,
I thought so.
Trump brought it on a national.
No, I'm just saying. But first of all,
and that's what politicians should do.
John,
raise the issues and make sure that the local politics, like you pointed out, is actually moving in the right direction to make a decision to empower the people.
The dance is nice, but the fact of the matter is this here. Trump has absolutely no power, none, zero, zilch, to offer any company incentives to stay until 1 second. You said can't sing. Hold on, I'm gonna talk right now. I'm gonna say right now. No. I'm gonna say right now. until January 20th, Trump absolutely has no power to cut any deal, offer incentives. The only reason you can offer incentives,
the stock market increased had like 7 all-time highs since Trump actually came to office.
What was it? I'm sorry. First of all, he's not in office. What was the stock market when Obama took over in 2009?
Right. I mean, well, if you want to give credit on the left, you got to give credit on the right.
I'm asking. First of all, the stock market don't have jack to do with Trump getting elected. If you're not going to give credit to Obama for the stock market going up more than 10,000 points in the past 8 years, don't try to give it in 2 weeks.
Well,
but here's the other piece.
Let's look at the drivers of why the stock market is high.
No,
zero interest rates actually artificially pump up the stock market. We can have that discussion.
Hold up. Zero interest rates, but also GDP been at 3.2% in November. Who gets credit for that?
That's the 1 month. You're gonna shout and dance
My Jesus.
Washington?
No, actually, it's called a progression. It's called a build up. You don't get to 3.2% until you repair the economy. How many consecutive months have there been job growth?
Okay.
Yeah, you do know that when you're a patient and you're in a coma, you do know when you're a patient and you're in the coma, and you come out of the coma, and then you go into ICU, and then I'm not done. Then when you go into ICU, and then you keep being healed, and all of a sudden you come out of ICU, and you go into a regular hotel room. I'm not done. Hold up. John, you want to shift? Let me answer the question. When you're in coma, and then you go to ICU, then you get out of ICU, then you go into a regular hospital bed, then you go from a regular hospital bed to being released. That's called a medical progression. We went from being in a coma in 2009 in a depression, and all of a sudden you begin to heal. We're losing 500,000 jobs.
Still economic depression.
Okay, all right. Let me go and deal with Nancy Pelosi because you clearly want to give credit to somebody in 2 weeks for the stock market going up. When I'm specific that the reason that what is happening right now, the economic conditions that exist right now have been a result of 8 years of hard work, not 2 weeks.
I'm not discrediting President Obama.
It sounded like you didn't want to give any credit. So let's talk about what's happening, folks.
He didn't want to give any credit. And see, that's what kills me about a whole bunch of these black Republicans. You know, it's one thing when they have the facts on their side. And I'm going to say, you know, sometimes they do. And maybe they do half of the time. Let's be nice about it. But when the facts are against them, okay, all they can do is spin away from them. And these black Republicans that get on these shows, they piss me off to no end. Very few of them, but there are some that are real, that are legitimate, okay, that I can actually sit there and listen to a cogent argument that they make. But when guys like this get up there and want to spin in the face of actual facts, you know, it just pisses me off. And that's why, you know, when I vote, you know, I never listen to these black Republicans because the majority of them are full of shit, you know. And I'm not saying that the black Democrats, which I got a bone to pick with them, and organizations like the Congressional Black Caucus, in my opinion, are full of shit as well. So we really need to have a party out there, and I'm talking to black people now. We really need to have a party out there that is going to concentrate on truth telling and concentrate on the issues that we have. It may not be a giant national party, but it needs to be a party that operates on the local levels where we can make a difference, where black votes can actually make a difference and impact policy. Because until that occurs, we're going to be sitting here like spit in the wind. Whichever way the wind is blowing, that's the way that spit's going. And whichever, and most of the time these days, it's the Democrats that woo our votes, where the Republicans don't, you know, that we're pretty much going to side with them or decide to sit home. And again, as I indicated initially, smoke and mirrors. Donald Trump, that's all he is smoke and mirrors. And that black Republican in the center is just a further illustration of smoke, mirrors, all hat, no cattle.